We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about our own ocean. And the small part we have explored includes a place so remote your nearest neighbor is an astronaut, a jellyfish that literally cannot die, and a shrimp the size of your hand that punches with the heat of the sun. So what's in the other 80%? Nobody knows. And that should terrify you just a little bit. The ocean has been keeping secrets. Here are 8 of the best ones. Number 1, the deepest place on Earth. If you dropped Mount Everest into the Mariana Trench, it would disappear completely and still have over a mile of water above it. That's how deep it goes, nearly 7 miles straight down. At the bottom, the pressure is so extreme, it's like having 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of every square inch of your body. Any unprotected human would be crushed instantly. Not slowly, not painfully. Instantly. Like a soda can. And yet, something lives down there. In 2022, scientists filmed a fish, a pale, ghostly little snailfish, casually swimming around at over 27,000 feet below the surface. Just hanging out, completely unbothered, at a depth where the pressure should make life physically impossible. We sent a submersible down there in 1960. 2 people made the trip. The descent took nearly 5 hours. During the dive, one of the windows cracked under the pressure. They kept going anyway. When they finally reached the bottom, they looked out the window expecting nothing, and they saw a flatfish swimming by. Life finds a way, even at the bottom of the world, even where nothing should exist, even in a place so extreme we've only visited it a handful of times in all of human history. Number 2, the most remote place on Earth. Picture this. You're stranded in the middle of the ocean. You need help. You look around, and the nearest land in any direction is 1,670 miles away. No ships, no planes, no routes, nothing. Your best bet for finding another human being is to look up. This place is real. It's called Point Nemo, and it's the most remote location on the entire surface of the planet. The International Space Station orbits at about 258 miles above Earth. Point Nemo is 1,670 miles from the nearest land. That means when the ISS passes overhead, the astronauts on board are literally the closest humans to that spot on Earth. Not the nearest country, not the nearest island, the nearest humans are floating in space. But that's not all. The ocean floor directly beneath Point Nemo is a graveyard. Not for ships, for spacecraft. NASA and every major space agency on Earth deliberately crashed their retired satellites and space stations there because it's so remote nothing can be harmed. Over 250 spacecraft are already sitting on the ocean floor. The Soviet Mir space station is down there, hundreds of Russian resupply vessels, a SpaceX rocket. And when the International Space Station retires in 2031, it's going there too. The most remote place on Earth is somehow also the world's largest spacecraft cemetery, sitting 2.5 miles underwater, in a place so isolated that your closest neighbors are astronauts. Number 3. The animal that cannot die. There is a jellyfish in the ocean that is biologically immortal. Not metaphorically immortal. Not lives a really long time, immortal. Actually, genuinely, scientifically immortal. The Turritopsis dohrnii, about the size of a fingernail, has figured out something that every other living thing on Earth has failed to do. When it gets old, sick, or injured, it doesn't die. It reverts. Its cells transform back into their earliest state, and it starts its entire life cycle over again from scratch. It's basically hitting the reset button on aging. Scientists call the process transdifferentiation, and they are genuinely baffled by it, because if a jellyfish the size of your fingernail has cracked biological immortality, the question is obvious. Why haven't we figured out how to copy it yet? Nobody has a good answer. That lasts 100 years. When a blue whale dies and sinks to the ocean floor, it doesn't just decompose, it becomes its own ecosystem. Scientists call it a whale fall. The body of one whale can sustain hundreds of species for over 100 years. Entire communities of creatures that exist nowhere else on Earth show up specifically to live on that one whale carcass. A whale's death is the beginning of a century-long story for everything around it. One life ends. 100 others begin. The ocean wastes absolutely nothing. Number 5. The gold nobody can reach. There are approximately 20 million tons of gold dissolved in the ocean right now. Not buried in shipwrecks, not sitting in chests on the seafloor, dissolved, floating invisibly in the water. If you could somehow collect all of it and divide it equally among every person on Earth, each of us would get about 9 pounds of gold each. Nobody has figured out how to extract it economically. So it just sits there, 20 million tons of gold, in the water, going absolutely nowhere. Number 6. The loudest thing that has ever lived. Somewhere in that same ocean right now, a blue whale is calling out to another blue whale. You didn't hear it. Nobody on the surface heard it. But at up to 188 decibels, the blue whale is the loudest animal that has ever existed on this planet. Louder than a jet engine at full thrust. Louder than a rock concert standing directly in front of the speakers. Its calls can travel up to 1,000 miles through the water. For context, a sound that loud on land would cause immediate, permanent hearing damage to any human within range. The blue whale just uses it to say hello. Number 7. The shrimp that punches with the heat of the sun. Meet the mantis shrimp, a colorful, absurd-looking little creature about the size of your hand that has absolutely no business being as dangerous as it is. Its punch travels at 50 miles per hour and hits with the force of a bullet. But the punch itself isn't even the scary part. The strike moves so fast it creates a cavitation bubble, a shock wave of superheated water that briefly reaches the temperature of the surface of the sun. The surface of the sun. It can shatter aquarium glass. Scientists are literally studying its club-like appendage right now to design better helmets and body armor. A shrimp the size of your hand is teaching us how to build better military equipment. The ocean is genuinely not fair. Number 8. We've explored almost none of it. Everything we just covered. The immortal jellyfish, the spacecraft graveyard at Point Nemo, the whale that becomes a century-long ecosystem, the shrimp that punches with solar temperatures, the 20 million tons of invisible gold. All of that came from the tiny fraction of the ocean we've actually managed to explore. Scientists estimate we've properly mapped less than 20% of the ocean floor. We have better, more detailed maps of the surface of Mars than we do of our own ocean. The ocean covers 71% of this planet. It's the largest habitat on Earth. It produces half the oxygen in every breath you take. And we have almost no idea what's in most of it. Every single expedition to the deep sea finds new species, sometimes dozens at a time, creatures that look like nothing we've ever seen, living by rules we don't understand, in places we didn't think life could exist. The ocean isn't just the biggest thing on this planet. It's the biggest mystery. And it's right here. Not on another planet, not in another galaxy, underneath us. Right now. Waiting.